For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard. But we only knew half the story.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Here's the thing, when you hear the name Tiffany Henyard, you probably think of controversy. From splashy headlines about her lavish spending to whispers of corruption, there's no shortage of scandal. But recently, the spotlight has shifted onto one of her closest allies, Keith Freeman, who's now at the center of a federal investigation. It's the type of political drama that keeps people talking, and trust us, the details are just wild.
Several new developments in South suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
So here's where it all starts. Keith Freeman, once Henyard's right-hand man, is facing federal charges. He's being accused of bankruptcy fraud, basically. The FBI claims he's been hiding his assets and income to dodge creditors. This isn't some minor issue. It's serious enough that if convicted, Freeman could be looking at some time behind bars. And this doesn't just reflect on him. This could potentially drag Tiffany Henyard down too, which is where things get really interesting. Freeman was a top aide to Henyard, holding key positions in both Dolton and Thornton Township. He was more than just a background player. He was deeply involved in the administration, making decisions that impacted everything from village finances to personnel hires.
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor.
And it gets even juicier when you realize Freeman isn't new to legal trouble. His rap sheet goes all the way back to the early 2000s. In 2000, he was charged with theft. And by 2005, he had typed up a felony in Iowa. He even spent some time as a fugitive in Florida, where authorities eventually caught up with him. To say he's got a troubled history is an understatement. And that's only part of what makes his current situation so messy. Freeman's troubles didn't stay in the past, though. Fast forward to 2024, and he's making headlines again for filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy claim that's been corrupting. In that filing, Freeman claimed his total income was just over $99,000 from his job as township administrator. But wait, here's the kicker. Prosecutors say he actually made close to $195,000 in that same year. How did he try to hide it? By channeling the money through a pass-through company, keeping it off the books. And that's not all. He also tried to submit a fake 2022 tax return to cover up his tracks. Seriously, it's like the plot of a political thriller. You almost can't believe it's real.
Hey guys, it's the Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
Now, Freeman didn't just limit his drama to the village of Dolton. He's also facing claims from the village of Robbins, where he was once the administrator. They've accused him of pocketing more than $9,000 in unauthorized funds during his time there. That's right, Freeman's financial shenanigans seem to follow him wherever he goes. And as if that weren't enough, Freeman's been tied to Tiffany Henyard's cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation. The foundation supposedly raises money to help cancer patients, but there have been accusations that it's more of a front for misusing taxpayer funds. Apparently, early donations to the foundation came from taxpayers, and it's failed to file the necessary financial paperwork, leaving people wondering where the money is really going.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
And let's not forget about Henyard herself, because the spotlight is very much on her too. She's facing accusations of misusing public funds, not just for her charity, but also for her personal benefit. We're talking about first-class trips, fancy dinners, and even personal security detail, all funded by taxpayers.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
And you know what's even crazier? Henyard vetoed a village resolution that would have launched an investigation into her own spending. It's almost like she doesn't want anyone to know what's really going on. But the truth is starting to come out, and it's not pretty. One of the most infamous moments that sticks out is her trip to Las Vegas. Sounds like a samegwe, right? Well, this trip has been anything but. Henyard and her trustee were accused of some very shady behavior on this so-called economic development trip, and it's safe to say that things didn't end well.
The township residents are paying for her fund.
Not only did it trigger a ton of criticism back home, but one of Henyard's former assistants even accused a trustee of inappropriate behavior during the trip. The scandal only deepened when the assistant claimed Henyard tried to sweep the whole thing under the rug, putting the assistant on unpaid leave instead of addressing the problem. It's almost hard to keep track of all the scandals at this point, but this trip really put a spotlight on Henyard's way of doing business. And if you're wondering what the residents of Dolton and Thornton think about all this, let's just say they aren't exactly happy. Many longtime residents have been vocal about their frustration with Henyard's administration, calling for accountability and change. One Dolton trustee didn't mince words, saying Freeman's federal fraud charge is a relief and that they hope it's the beginning of the end for Henyard's reign. At the next board meeting, the trustee even said they'd ask Freeman to step down if he shows up because, in their words, he's an embarrassment to this community. Ouch.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
The tension between Henyard and the trustees has been boiling over for a while now. In fact, Henyard skipped out on a key meeting recently where the trustees voted to limit spending and approve a new firefighter's contract. Henyard didn't show, but that didn't stop the trustees from getting things done without her.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It will just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
The meeting was full of heated moments, with one resident going as far as to call Henyard a demon, and another said they wouldn't rest until she's behind bars. And that's just the kind of drama that keeps people hooked. Residents are clearly fed up and they're making their voices heard. But let's circle back to Keith Freeman for a second. His legal issues are only getting worse, and many people are wondering if the FBI might pressure him to flip on Henyard. After all, the two have been closely linked for years, with Freeman serving as a key figure in her administration. If Freeman decides to cooperate with investigators, it could spell big trouble for Henyard. And honestly, with all the legal pressure mounting, it wouldn't be surprising if Freeman decides to cut a deal to save himself. But that's just speculation for now.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993.
Fans of this saga haven't been shy about sharing their opinions either. One comment from a recent video summed up the public's confusion perfectly. Question how come she's still in that position with all these allegations. Don't they have somebody to step in until this is resolved? And what's taking the FBI so long with all of this evidence? Honestly, it's a fair question. With so much drama swirling around Henyard and Freeman, many are wondering how they're still holding on to their positions. And then there's another fan comment that made people chuckle. I keep telling everyone, that's just Lil Wayne with makeup and a wig. It's comments like these that remind us just how wild and surreal this whole situation feels. Despite all the noise, Henyard has continued to insist that she's the victim of a smear campaign. She's said over and over again that her critics are trying to tear her down because she's the first Black female mayor of Dolton. And while she's played the victim card, the evidence piling up against her and her administration suggests there's more to the story. At almost every board meeting, you can find Henyard clashing with trustees over finances, spending, and transparency. One heated exchange saw Henyard calling out the trustees, accusing them of acting with hatred and operating out of spite rather than concern for the village.
Mayor Henyard fired her chief of police late last year without any approval from the village board. So now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit against the village.
Henyard's lavish spending is a sore point with many, especially since Dolton's general fund is in a deficit of over $3.5 million. Reports have surfaced showing how taxpayer money has been used to fund extravagant events, including one where singer Keek Wyatt was paid $30,000 for a 30-minute performance, and rapper Jay Holiday received $20,000. In total, Henyard's Taste of Thornton Township event cost at least $85,000, which is staggering when you consider the village's financial troubles. And that's just one event. Henyard has been called out for using village credit cards for personal expenses, racking up bills on everything from Amazon purchases to fancy dinners.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy. But it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some accountability.
It's not just Henyard's personal spending that's under the microscope. Her administration has been accused of mismanaging village resources on a large scale. For example, the village's police department has been stretched thin, with officers often being pulled off their regular duties to provide security for Henyard. Critics say that this has led to a rise in crime, with not enough officers left to patrol the streets. Even the former police chief of Dolton has spoken out, saying that the mayor's personal security detail has taken a toll on the department's ability to fight crime effectively. It's no wonder residents are demanding change. As one fan put it, it's like watching a real-life soap opera, but instead of scripted drama, this is all too real. That about sums it up. This saga has all the elements of a high-stakes drama, and everyone's waiting to see what the next episode will bring. Will Freeman cooperate with investigators? Will Henyard finally face consequences for her spending and questionable decisions? There's so much up in the air, and that's exactly what makes this story so captivating.
You know, wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions.
For now, all eyes are on the courts and the FBI. Freeman's next hearing will likely shed more light on the details of his financial misconduct, and who knows, we might even see some more shocking revelations come out about Henyard along the way. In the meantime, residents are left wondering how long this can drag on. And let's be real, they're probably hoping for some swift justice after years of controversy. So what do you think? Will Keith Freeman end up taking a plea deal, or will he go down fighting? And how long do you think Tiffany Henyard can keep up this political juggling act before it all comes crashing down? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.